Hey everybody, good morning. I just got back. My cheeks are still red. I'm eating a little bit of breakfast here. I wanted to share just really quick. I realized I haven't been introducing myself well. We have a lot of new faces in here. And I'm gonna move my screen over a little bit. I'm Robin Whitworth, and I coach moms. And I am not finding there's my notes. I'm a mom of 5, and I work from home, and I built this business from home. And I'm positioning my screen to where I can see your comments. So if you're on live, please say so in the comments. I really believe in being your most authentic self. I eat sometimes on my calls when I'm starving. I am not the person that you've maybe seen. Hey, Ashley, doing lives and webinars and presentations, and I'm all dressed up with lipstick and a trendy top and starving because that's professional. I get that. There is a time and a place for that. But I want you to know that one of my biggest missions is for moms to feel super confident in their power and who they are. And in this space full of you amazing Christian moms, I want this to feel quite literally like we're just hanging out together, having an amazing conversation where I get to share something. Hey, I get to share something that has just shifted my life so much, and you're choosing to share space with me. And so I'm going to share. And I hope that you will add your comments into the little comments string. Little kids cup. This is just real life, right? I'm a mom. I just got back from a walk in the cold because I'm in Idaho and it's cold here. And I'm just getting breakfast and I got kids cups to drink out of. I have nothing fancy. I just really feel such a strong desire to be so authentic with this is my life. This is how I'm showing up. And it can be joyful and fun and awesome. I had a belief system for a long time, many years, that I had to show up a certain way to get a certain result out of my life, that I had to appear as something. And that meant what I was wearing. That meant what kind of makeup I had on or what kind of cup I was drinking out of. Maybe I have a super cute stainless steel tumbler that is way more in trend that I see on people's lives. But today it's a weird kid's cup that's losing its whatever. You can't even, it's creepy eyeballs, right? It's just funny. Hey, Sandra. Thank you. And I will tell you that I have learned the value of phrases like do it messy, ready as a lie, show up however that looks for you, because your authenticity makes you relatable. It helps people to feel comfortable in your space, builds trust with people. How can I share anything with anybody if they have zero trust in me? You love the creepy eyeballs on the cup. There's such a delay on this thing. Sorry, muted myself for a second. Hopefully we're all still good. And this is just me. So if you're on this call for the first time, or you're watching the recording and you're like, who is this lady that proclaims to be able to change my life? Because I do. And she's sitting there in a sweater, drinking out of a kid's cup with no bling. It just is. Now, there's times where I am a little more dressed up. There's times when I feel like being dressed up, like the content I am going to deliver makes me just feel like I want to wear maybe a cardigan. I know, right? Super sexy, super serious. Maybe I want to put on some earrings. And I'll tell you that I've learned things about myself with my outfits. I know this is kind of off topic. You came here to learn about faith and fear, but this plays into it. This plays into so much of how I was able to move from fear into faith. Part of that, if you're taking notes today, ooh, edgy cardigans, that's right. Like, seriously, you guys. If you're taking notes, like, authenticity is such a huge piece to stepping in to a whole realm where you get to just be you and it's enough. You don't have to wear a certain hairstyle. You don't have to put on some certain earrings. You don't have to wear whatever in your space when you're trying to be the light that you are. And I've learned something about myself that I tie a lot of symbolism to things. Like when I wear a certain outfit, it's because of the content I'm about to deliver. When I wear I have earrings, all of my earrings, it's like, I have like a pair from my great grandmother and a pair from my grandmother. And they have symbolism to me and how I'm feeling that day and the vibe and just, it's so authentic to me in the day. Now y'all are going to be like taking notes on what I wear all the time. No, but what I hope is that you're going to start thinking about what you do. I used to put a lot of stress in that area, and now I don't, because I've learned to just lean into whatever is feeling the most authentic to me in that moment. Sometimes I show up on a really important team call and I'm in my tank top from my workout because I was so fired up in that moment. I'm like, I got to stay in this energy. I'm just going to keep this going. And good morning, Serena. So if you're taking notes, this is actually a really big piece. And I'm going to be really authentic with you right now. I did not know I was going to tell you this morning. This isn't in my notes. But as I sat down and I was feeling those old feelings of like, oh, how are you showing up? I'm like, thank you for that. Served me at some time in my life. For whatever reason, it doesn't now. But I'm going to share that with you. So where I wanted to start with this fear to faith training, and I do have 5 specific areas or principles that I am just so proud of you for being here to get. And after we're done, you are going to have these, and I want you to ponder on them and to think about what that means to you. Really pull it apart for you. Take a time after this call to journal a little bit and just really lean in to what you've been told and be open to it. Now, realize that I'm going to help you. Yay! See, Ashley, thank you. Thank you for making that comment and letting us and everyone else know that that is something that a lot of us struggle with. I know I'm not the only one. Thank you, Ashley. She says ideas about how I'm supposed to show up is something I'm struggling with. So you nailed it. Show up how you would show up if it was just you, like quite literally. Really lean in. How do I feel today? How do I, let yourself be yourself. Let yourself be enough. There's a quote from this book, and I'm just going to say it right now. This book is heavy. This book is not heavy in the way of like, okay, maybe that was a bad choice of words. What's a better word? Deep. I've read heavy books like historical fiction about children dying that is a real true story. That's heavy. This book, I have to take really slow. I've only read this much in like 2 months. Deep is probably the word. Thank you, Sheree. So good to see you here. It takes ideas. Yeah, something you have to chew on. Ideas that I now accept, where 5 years ago, I didn't even accept. Like, I couldn't have picked up this book and read anything and got anything out of it. It would have been, but now I can take these ideas and actually, because little seeds of what he talks about in here have been planted enough over the years, and I've cultivated enough that this is allowing me, it's like fertilizer. Look at this analogy I'm coming up with. So good. But it's like fertilizer for those seeds that are starting to grow, with this idea of how much say I have in my life, how fake fear is, what a lie regret is. These are just some of the ideas that have come to me. And if you're like, dude, Robin, expound upon that, put it in the comments so that I know what you guys want me to expound on in these calls. But in this book, he talks about the origin of fear. And I read this the other day and I have not got past it. Some of you that are my clients are probably like, wow, Robin's bringing this up again. But this is like, I'm still chewing on this. I am still working through what this means to me. So the part I want to share, and if you have this book and you've struggled with it, I'm in your boat. Not struggled with it as in, I don't believe this, but struggled with it in like, are you telling me this is real? This is, anyway, there's just so much. So I want you to know The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And I've learned that all of his works are that way from a lot of different mentors that I've had in the past. And I feel like I got brave enough to pick up one of his books because people that I admired so much in the mindset, coaching, mentoring, online business space have suggested, Eckhart Tolle does this thing. And I'm just like, who is this guy that is so like blessed with this gift? So I finally picked up that book this year at Target on a random run. I'm like, I'm just going to pick this up. I actually felt drawn to it. But when I've had ideas about fear, and you can go back in this group and look at my class that's called Ditching Fear. That's an excellent class. That's very much tactical, really tactical. Like, hey, think about something differently. Let's reframe this. Let's get a different perspective. That class is excellent. If you are like, I am just learning about my thoughts. I'm just barely learning. So this class is going to go a little deeper. And if you want to pause it and go watch that class, come back. This is being streamed into Facebook, so it's going to be here as a recording. But this class today, I'm going to go a little bit deeper. So who's excited? Put in the comments if you're like, dude, I'm ready for something to chew on. As Ashley said, I am ready for a little bit more information, a little bit more. I planted this seed of fear and learning how to, not planting the seed of fear, but I've been thinking of this. This is an idea that I have thought about. Ashley says, bring it. I love that energy. If you're ready, put something in the comments for us. Like, yes, let's do this. Like, let's dive in. Let's hear about this. So in this book, he says, Amy, yes, I love it. The psychological condition of fear is divorced from any concrete and true immediate danger. And seriously, I'm going to read this part from here. Just bear with me. So he writes this book as kind of like an interview. So the question is, you mentioned fear being part of a basic underlying emotional pain. How does fear arise? Why is there so much in people's lives? And isn't a certain amount of fear healthy self-protection? If I didn't have fear of fire, I would put my hand in and get burned. And this is his answer. And I read that too. I was like, yeah, that's what I think, right? He says, the reason why you don't put your hand in the fire isn't because of fear. It's because you know you're going to be burned. You've had an experience, right? Like, he's like, you don't need fear to avoid unnecessary danger. Just a minimum of intelligence and common sense. And I read that and I'm like, right. Like, And then he says, for such practical matters, it's useful to apply the lessons that you've learned, right? We've had some experiences. He's like, if someone threatened you with fire or physical violence, you might experience fear. This is an instinctive shrinking back from danger, but not psychological condition of fear that we're talking about. And then he goes into this idea that there's a psychological condition of fear, and it comes in many forms. Feeling of unease, anxiety, nervousness, tension, dread, a phobia, worrying about things. He said this kind of psychological fear is always of something that might happen. Let that sink in for a second. It's not something that's happening in your actual now, the present moment. You are here and now while your mind is in the future. This creates an anxiety gap. So here's the future thought. Something might happen, but I don't know because I don't make the future. I'm not a future teller. I'm not God. There's this gap. It's called the anxiety gap. And if you are identified with your mind and have lost touch with the power and simplicity of staying here in the now, the anxiety gap is your constant companion. You can always cope with just the present moment, but you can't cope with something that's only a mind projection. Humans can't cope with the future. I just sat with that for a long time. Like in my bed, I read this a lot at night. Like it's my thought, and I'll just sit there and I just think about it. And I'm just like, how have I seen this in my life show up? Do I have any type of context around what he's talking about there? So if you're thinking about, like I said, we're going a little bit deeper today. I thought a lot about that. And I'm like, I've learned so much about staying in the present moment these last few years and what that looks like. And I realized I had fear about staying in the present moment. Well, if I don't prepare, if I haven't thought everything out and thought of every scenario, then I'm going to be stuck in the mud somewhere at some point, and it's going to be my fault because I didn't think ahead, because I wasn't prepared. And while there are true principles there's two principles in that, right? I had to realize that I grew up, a lot of this goes back with how we grow up, you guys, because your first values are formed from age 0 to 7. Your first values, the things that become kind of your core beliefs, are formed very early on when you are just discovering that you are a human on this planet and what that looks like. Oh man, I touched my glasses. I'm like, I'm seeing something. And so I had grown up in a home where in those years, productivity was king. Preparedness was king. If you made a mistake, it's because you didn't prepare enough. It wasn't just because you made a mistake. If you didn't do something right, like it was so much so, like I should have known, I should have known, I should have known. I understand now. My parents did the best they could, but they did. Like in my house, we had chores and we had lots of things to do. And I did a lot of things wrong. I had never done it before. But my parents, in the way that they knew the best, they would tell me, how could you not know that? That's common sense. A lot of that kind of language was my formative years. So I learned that I should know things. Somehow I should know things that I don't know. And that's very scary to be like, oh, I'm bad. I'm wrong. I'm being shamed. I'm being punished, being spanked for something that was brand new to me. My parents know that now. And we've had conversations where like, yeah, sorry, but that doesn't mean that it's gone from me. That is something that my formative brain gets to bump up against a lot. And I happen to know I was not the only child that was raised that way. Okay. That our parents definitely forgot or didn't have the psychological news article to read, whatever, that they were living, seeing me through their perspective. They know all this stuff. They see me make this mistake and they're like, how could you do that? Didn't you understand that? And as a kid, you're like, I'm sorry, I didn't know, and I become so aware of that as a parent now doing this work. This is so important. And so this has come later in my life, though. This has come later in my life, this awareness of what that type of thinking and growth has brought up as an adult. So for many of my early adult years, like through my 20s, early 30s, my early 30s is when the seed was planted within me that I had a problem. People would talk about, if you think this way and if this is your struggle, like you actually, it's you thing. It's not the world. It's not, and I was like, other people don't think like that. Like what? So years ago, I often found myself like telling myself that others were scrutinizing me. They were criticizing my every move. I told the story all the time that when I would post online, there was people that were reading it that were telling stories about me. Well, Robin Whitworth said this, and this lady online said this, and I would envision people in my mind, key players in my life, my brother, my mom, my neighbor, be like, oh, if they read this, they might be offended, to the point where it paralyzed me at the keyboard. Like I couldn't even push publish. I couldn't push post on some really important thoughts that I felt driven, almost you could say prompted by the Spirit to share. But because I was so wrapped up in, hang on one. My daughter's home from school and she was playing a really loud piano piece, and it was like, music totally takes my brain on a ride. I don't know if you guys are that way. I can't listen to music when I'm like doing work. I can't. It has to be non-lyrical, like anyway, so it was like making my brain get off. But it paralyzed me at the keyboard. I would be telling all of these stories of what might happen, to the point where this anxiety became paralyzing. I couldn't push post, or I'd sit there and edit and change it. I'll cut that part out because this person might think that. Well, oh, that's kind of a big point. I'll do that. Like I couldn't even share stuff. Like I stopped sharing at church. I became so curated in how I showed up, what I said. Like I told myself other moms at the playground were either admiring how I was being a mom with my kids, or they were judging me for how I was playing with my kids or not playing with my kids, or what I said. I felt like I was on display and that I was being graded. I was very much at the mercy of the thoughts of other people. Like I lived life that way. And I'm learning that not everybody, or that I wasn't alone in that, right? I wasn't alone in this space of feeling that way. I want to know if anyone else that's listening today has ever felt like they were on display, like at the really afraid to step into your power to maybe do something because you felt like you were going to be heavily judged. And it's so crazy because it's like, what's that person actually going to do? Even if they are judging me, like they can't spank me. But there was just this value system from such a young age that I was like, someone's judging my behavior. And to the point where I didn't do a lot of things outside my comfort zone because I was too scared to do it wrong. I was so scared to do it wrong. And I had a lot of fear. This is this psychological fear he's talking about. There was no immediate threat or danger to me, right? Like nobody was walking up to me being like, if you play with your kid on the playground like that, I'm going to pummel you to the ground. Like nobody does that. You know what I mean? And if they do, you probably need to get out of that neighborhood. But like, I was in no immediate danger. And yet I was paralyzed by fear often. I would get angry. I'd get uptight and really irritable if I would go out and do a lot of things, especially new things that were hard for me. My heart would start beating fast. Like I would really have this experience. I can see in hindsight now that it was probably like at an unhealthy level, but I didn't know, right? No one had said these things. I didn't hear about this. Lots of other people feel this. And I'm so grateful that for the people that are vulnerable, that are saying, hey, yeah, I feel you. I have been in that spot of feeling like I'm on display, feeling like What I'm about to say is going to be published in the sky for all the earth to come and drop their comments on my front porch. I laugh because it's so fictional. It was so fictional. It was all fake. All those stories, these thought bubbles I was putting above people's heads, and then I would project that I believed them. Like, it was taking up so much energy. And I would just be like, oh, you know, Amy says, something I heard is that most of the time we think people are thinking about us, they're busy worried about themselves. Yes, that is like so on point. And like, I just started about 6 or 7 years ago was when I heard quotes like that. And I thought, oh. And the one that really stuck me, that really propelled me to change was, if you feel like you're being judged, it's because you judge. And I was like, that hit home like a whatever word we're trying to say that's not coming out. Like, I seriously was like, and I realized, because I had been taught in my Christian faith that judging was wrong, right? And it wasn't till years later that I learned that there can be a difference. If you're taking notes, this is important. If this is you, there is a massive difference between observing and just taking note and being like, oh, that was an interesting way she did that. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. How do we learn if not by observation? There's a huge difference between observing and actually placing moral judgment. But at that stage, about 7, 6, I'm like thinking how old my daughter is, and then going back a couple of years. So like 7 years ago, I really heavily realized a lot of the fear I was feeling as I was building a different business at that time was because I was judging other people, and sometimes to a moral degree. I was very unconscious about all of this, but I was judging people's actions and what they were doing and how they were doing it and what that meant based on my belief system. Of course, it made sense then that I was thinking other people were doing that to me. The people that are most afraid of judgment often are placing judgment. And so I had to take a really hard look and be like, how can I step out of this place of judgment and thinking, oh, well, she's got pop and Cheetos in her cart. Look at mine. I got apples. Like, I used to think that way. And I know you could say, wow, that's rough. But I've come to learn I'm not the only one. And it's okay for me to admit this and be in that space, because I'm not in that space all the time. I wasn't then. And every now and then my brain wants to jump there and make a judgment. And I've had to pull myself back, and I'm getting better and better and better at it, to the point where I show up now online and I do not care what anyone's thinking. I share my stuff and I do not care. Like, there's the care where I'm like, oh, if somebody gives me feedback, I'll take it in. But like, I don't have what's the word? Like a reservation about it anymore. I'm like, whatever comes, comes. I'll deal with it when it comes, because I'm now in the now. The criticism might come a week later, tonight. I'll get a hate letter next week. I will deal with it then. But I don't know if it's going to come. So why cripple my performance, my thoughts, my post for something that may not ever happen? What a waste of energy. Like, seriously, it was so amazing to me when I started, these pieces started falling in, and I'm like, that was all fiction. So how did I kind of come about this? How did I stop this kind of thought process to become a coach that has a successful business online, living the life of my dreams while enduring critics? I have gotten very critical emails. I've had very critical things said to me by clients. But because I have learned some of the things I'm going to share with you, they don't come in and dissolve me. They don't stop me. There are plenty of naysayers and really unsupportive people. So, who's ready? There's 5 things I'm going to do to help you to start to shift this. so that you can start to move forward in your authenticity and the power that you want to hold. Who's ready? Give me a one in the comments is an easy way to say it. If you can't think of a word to type, like I'm ready, let's go. I need my creepy eyeball cup. This is from a Great Wolf Lodge. If you guys haven't been to a Great Wolf Lodge with your family, make it happen. The kids will love it so much. It's awesome. All right, I'm seeing some me's, some ones, some yeses. Let's go. If you're watching the replay, comment. We want to know. Okay, so the first one is meditation. I struggled so much with meditation for a long time, like 8 years, off and on. This is boring. I don't think this is helping me. My brain would wander. I fall asleep. I'm like, this is such a waste of my time. But again, that belief system, because I wasn't doing it right, how I thought it was, I had some imaginary checklist of what meditation should be. And if I wasn't doing that, then it's not worth my time. It's a waste. Guys, if you struggle with things like this, really get into your mind and be like, do I have some checklist about this that I've created that is total baloney? Who created it? Who said that's how it had to be? And if it's you, then you can dismantle it. Like easy, super easy. Say, you know what? Who wrote that anyway? Why do I even think that that's how it has to be? Who said that? A lot of times nobody except your own brain created some curriculum that you have to follow that is dumb, because life changes all the time. So I had this checklist about meditation, how it should be, and it kept me from really good meditation for a long time. Now, this is why meditation is so important. We talk about sitting in the now. Your body is always here. Spoiler alert, if you didn't know that, your body is always here. Right now on earth, wherever you are, it is sitting there. In space, in real time, your physical cells that are held together by your epidermis, like you're sitting here in the present moment. Your body never goes back to the funeral of your grandmother and cry and, is there. Your body never is up on that stage when you want to be a public speaker in 5 years. But your brain does this. Your body doesn't, every cell doesn't have its own brain, right? So if your brain goes back to grandma's funeral and starts feeling the sadness, and it's so hard, and we really dwell there for a long time, and we're replaying it all, and we're feeling that emotion, and then all of a sudden your body thinks you're there. So it will go through all the motions of what we do when we're sad. It will cry, it will feel contracted, it will do all those things as if we were at grandma's funeral. Oh, but then we come back to the now and, we're in the carpool lane. But our body just went through this entire thing that your brain said, we're at grandma's funeral, we're going to do this thing. It just used all the energy that you said, this is what we're doing. And then your brain goes, oh crap, I need to stop at Walmart and get that thing. Are we going to be late for the doctor's office? If we're late, then we're going to have to reschedule. And then we can't do that because we're going on a trip this weekend. And all of a sudden, as if that's happening, your body starts, your heart rate goes up, and you're just thinking about this stuff, and you're just oh my gosh, and you might start feeling tingly in your legs, and then all of a sudden the kids get in the car and you're irritated because you just burned all these calories and all of this worry and emotion your body just went through in 10 minutes. In meditation, it's amazing that our bodies survive, right? It's amazing the things we do in our brain stress our body out, and our body's just hey, I'm just here to serve. I'm just here to keep you alive as best as I can. What do you want me to do? I'll do it. Our bodies are so amazing. If you guys haven't taken time to really give some gratitude to yourself, give it some love. Thank you for giving me. If you're here on this call, your body has given you 100% survival rate so far. Like, come on, give it some kudos. But in meditation, you stop your thoughts. In meditation, once I heard it this way and really grasped that in meditation, I'm present. And how much that was going to preserve my energy, how much that was going to allow my whole self to actually be in my office at 10:07 a.m. teaching a class. And all of a sudden, my body is really relaxed. It's really at peace. I just think about my breath. And I can easily get into that space now where my brain becomes a whiteboard. That's the imagery that I had to choose a long time ago. And it's an empty whiteboard. And I just let it be empty. The body doesn't know. And so when you're in meditation, it really quite literally is like stopping at the gas station and refueling this incredible machine. If you don't stop at the gas station and give it some fuel, some rest, that's what the body needs occasionally. If you don't stop and do that, you run out of gas and you don't know why you weren't watching the gauge. And this machine will burn out. Because our brains are always going to be thinking, right? That's what they're designed to do. Meditation, seriously, you hear about people that meditate 2 or 3 times a day. That is why they've learned the value of stopping and refueling, recentering, being like, I'm in today. I'm only in today. I don't have to be in tomorrow. I don't have to be in yesterday. My daily energy, like real energy of just being able to go and do and be up, shifted drastically when I started meditating regularly. And I do some guided, and I have heard that it's great to start with guided because it takes your thought into what's happening. And now I can even meditate without guidance. And that was so hard for me. I didn't think I'd ever get there because my brain was so busy. But now I can meditate without guidance. And that is a magical place to be. I can meditate anywhere. Doesn't matter what's going on. But it took a lot of practice. It takes intention. But I'll tell you, if you want to be more in the now and stop worrying about and allow your body to just be in today, your body will get healthier. It'll be less stressed. You have less adrenal fatigue. You have less digestive issues. The more you can practice meditation regularly, once a day, twice a day, just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, your body will perform better for you. I can testify of that to the 10th degree. Okay, so the first one's meditate. Learn meditation. Some of the first way I did it was on YouTube. I just searched up short guided meditations, came up with some stuff. Great. Second thing I did over the years was subscribe to the Calm app. I think it was like $30 a year or something. And every day they had a thing every morning. They had different classes you could take, different meditation groups where you could listen to a 10-day series on anxiety or a 10-day series on overeating, or they had it was really good, really, really good. And then I learned about an app called Insight Timer. And it's a little brass bowl that is the little thing. What's it called? The emoticon, the icon. All free. You can donate if you want, but there's a vast amount. You can search any topic in there. They have classes you can listen to. They've got meditations on everything of every shape and size. You can do a 2-minute meditation. You can do a 20-minute meditation. They have ones that are just music, it's really a great app. That's what I use now. And highly recommend all options, whatever floats your boat. But I would start with guided. If you've never done it and you need your brain to have a place to go, start with guided. All right, number 2, the power of the pen. The power of writing things down. I have on my desk right now 4 journals, and they all have a purpose. And I used to hear people say that. My throat is dry today. I wonder if I slept with my mouth open or something. And I heard of people having multiple journals and writing all the time. And this just like meditation. I'm like, oh, this is a waste of time. I'd write something out and it'd be so long. Like it took so long to write stuff out. And I was like, oh. And I'll tell you that over the years, I've developed different things. But what I've learned is that when I write something out and take the time to write it, not only does my brain have to focus on it because my hand is doing something that makes it have to coordinate with it. So that keeps me more in the present when I'm writing. But when I get it out of my head and onto paper, when things are in here, they're subject to the human body. They're subject to emotions, which is just part of our makeup to help us to be able to feel and make good decisions and all of those things, right? Once it's out of here and on paper, the emotions can't overtake it. You can see it in black and white for what it is. And if anyone's my client on here, they know they've probably written more in the last few months than they've ever written in their lives. Like, I don't know, but like when I get it out on paper, and there's lots of different types of writing. There's doing a complete brain dump where I just get out it's my bigger one. It's like an 8.5 by 11, and I just write all sorts of things. I scribble, I doodle, if I'm feeling intense, I draw intense circles, I rip the page out and throw it in the garbage. Like and if I just am like, I hear my kid showering. I'm scared about my presentation later. I really wish this would happen differently. I'm still thinking about that thing. Like I just go and go and go and go and go and go until I feel like I have nothing else in my brain. And then I crumple it all up and throw it away. But what's interesting about that is once I've done a brain dump, my brain I can almost feel it go, oh, a sigh of relief. There's like this whirlwind going on, and I just pulled out the big, nasty pieces about it. It slows down. There's no weight to it anymore. And the most important thoughts are all that's left. And it's easy for me to, when you're just like, I don't know what's more important. I don't know what my priorities should be. I don't know. Do a brain dump and then see what's left over. It helps so, so much to get stuff on paper, to make a decision, especially with decision making. And so when you're thinking about something and it seems scary, you're like, oh, but I felt prompted to do this thing, or I feel there's something here with this, like, oh, get it out on paper. Write your vision, write that mission, write that passion, write it in words with your own hand. Let your brain see this coming out. And when the emotion is gone, right, because it's on paper now, you can just look at that paper and be like, okay, what's left? What's at the pit of this? What am I afraid of, really? And all of a sudden, a lot of the fictional pieces of that are gone because the emotion is what exacerbates those, makes it big, like they're real. And we no longer are swayed by emotion and past thoughts and the projections and all this stuff. You can make really great decisions, like really good decisions that won't leave you hanging and be stuck in the mud. Those things I used to fear. I'm like, well, if I don't know all this and I don't know all the scenarios, I'm going to let someone down. I'm going to, it's going to be my fault. When I get everything out on paper, it's actually become significantly easier to make choices. So if I'm struggling with a really big choice, I get it out all on paper, and then I take a highlighter and I either pick out the important thoughts, or a lot of times anymore, I used to do that. The important thoughts is all that's left, and I go to a different journal to write those down. This is what came through. This is what's sticking in here. And then I start working through that. I see it on paper and it's like, oh my gosh, get this out of my brain so that the emotions can't make them bigger or smaller or whatever based on past experience. So write things out. Anything you're afraid of, really write it out and be like, what is at the base of my fear here? I had one client that was just struggling so bad. Her son was going to drive home for the Christmas break. And she was just like, I am so distraught about this. Like, should I go pick him up? Like, maybe he should just, and I'm like, let's get it on paper. Let's get it on paper. So we did a little, this is what I'm afraid of. This is what, and it's like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, what's the worst case scenario here? With how much she was distraught, I was like, do you think he might die? She's like, well, it's a busy road and he could get in an accident. I'm like, what if you go down and get him and you both die in the accident? I mean, that is such a unlikely experience, right? But if he did, like, we had to face that worst case scenario, get it on paper. Would you survive? Would it be okay? Would you blame yourself forever that you didn't go pick him up and die in the accident with him? Like, really getting real. What is the worst case scenario on paper? A lot of times then we look at it and go, oh my gosh, that is so unlikely. Where did that even come from? Do I have something else going on here? Like, with me and my husband's financial decisions, this idea of writing out has been so huge, because we then go, okay, what's worst case scenario if we buy this car or make that investment or whatever? We're like, well, worst case scenario, it goes south, we lose $25,000. Will we recover from that? Yeah. Like, worst case scenario, we have to liquidate all our assets, go move into a hotel. Will we survive from that? And really putting it on paper and taking the emotion out of it. We're just like, you know what, we would. Our health is good. We've got a great partnership. I think we would totally be able to recover from that. Those types of talks have totally helped us to have non-emotional experiences when we need to purchase something or invest in something or whatever it is, because it's like, you know what, we're going to recover. It's going to be fine. It'll be great. We have, advisors and people to help us. But at the end of the day, getting it out on paper and releasing the emotion from it all helps so much to find out what's really going on. What's the truth in this situation here? Okay, number 3. Removing limiting beliefs of time and money are huge players here. Removing limiting beliefs is a huge player in any place where you really want to start walking by faith in your life. But time and money are the big players here. And if you want to go back and watch my video about money, go watch that one. I talk a lot about why we have money the way that it is, seeing money differently. But once I removed limiting beliefs about time and limiting beliefs about money, things got a whole lot clearer about what I wanted to do, why I was doing it, and I was 100% enough to do that thing. It was limiting beliefs like, oh, but my kids are this age. Oh, but they're going to be this age when I do that. Again, it's moving into that. It might happen. That's those kind of beliefs like, well, I'll be this old and nobody does that. Or I'm too young. Like, nobody will believe me if I do that. Or, well, the school year is only so long and I only have this much time with my kid. And those are time limiting beliefs. You can let go of those and really be like, no, I have all the time in the world. It is man-made. Time is not linear. It is not linear. Okay. Linear is when you think this, and this, and that's the end of the way. It's not. Time is not linear. It is round. It's an eternal. It's just here on earth that we decided to have clocks because we wanted to time our crops. Like, it has no bearing on the life you're meant to live. There is not a time limit on your success. There's not a time limit on you improving your life. There is no deadline. Okay? There's no deadline on self-improvement. Just let yourself know that you will never arrive. There's never an end till you're dead. And even then, I have a faith system that says that I'm going to keep going. You will never arrive. Just know that. You will never arrive as the number one mom in the world. You'll never arrive as the most successful being that ever was. Like, that is not even a thing, because humans will always progress. That is the law of nature. We're always evolving. Always, always, always. We will never arrive at some endpoint that says, okay, you're done progressing. You have now mastered this concept. There is always more. Humans are so limited when we believe in time. So releasing the concept of time, I understand that we have to pick up the kids at 3 o'clock and we have to get up at this time. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you really are limiting yourself by saying, I'm too old, I'm too young, well, my kids are this age and I'm missing out. Like, really examine those types of thoughts and work with a coach to shift them, because they're holding you back from doing something amazing that you have no idea how long it's going to take. It might take 5 years and it might take 5 months. But you're so afraid of what it might be that you're not even starting. And so it's probably been 5 years of you sitting there thinking about it. And I can say it that way because that was me. And now I'm mad about it. I have a definite but I know I made the best decision that I could in that moment. It served me. It was fine. But gosh, now moving forward, I just do stuff because I don't know. Time's passing anyway. Like, the clock's ticking anyway. Who cares if it's going to take me 10 minutes or 10 years? I want to do it. I feel called to do it. I'm going to do it. I've really begun to really release a lot of that in my life, and it has shifted what I choose to do and how much fear I have going into it. When I don't care how long it takes me, I'm going to do it. I am going to do it. I wanted to earn $20,000 in a month 5 years ago. So who cares that it took me 4.5 years? Right? The $20,000 is still worth something. It's awesome. And then releasing money. Money is so material and so mortal. Letting it have a lot of power in your life is really, I've learned it for me, it was a sad situation. To make decisions based on where I was right here. It was just okay, money is always shifting and always changing. To be able to just say, okay, if I had all the money in the world, it was not an issue anymore, what would I really do? And I say it like that because it gets exciting. What would I really do? Would I hire that coach? Would I go on that vacation? What would I really do if I had all the money that I needed to do anything? And if I'd go on more vacations. I would start that business. I would change my job. I would do the blah, 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 whatever is coming to your brain. That means you need to move in that direction. Doesn't mean that has to happen today and you're going to go into debt to make this thing happen. No, I'm saying that you can finally allow your brain to live to its full capacity and say, I'm going to be this kind of a person. So I do need a coach. But where am I at right now? How can I, now that you've seen that, you know which direction you need to move in. So much clarity will come that is so crystal clear that fear isn't even a thing anymore. When you release the limiting belief of money holding you back, it's huge. It is one of the biggest things that have allowed my clients to see way more than they saw before, to believe in so much more, right? Faith. Oh my gosh, they start moving in the direction of a dream. They start moving in the direction of faith, believing the resources are going to come, believing that that's where they need to go because they've seen it with no limitations. Their brain knows that's what they're capable of, and they move in that direction. And all of a sudden, the universe goes, oh, we have clarity for Siri. We have clarity for Ashley. We've got clarity for Amy. Here's the resources you need. Anytime the resources aren't showing up for you, you don't have absolute clarity. And a lot of that is limiting beliefs of time and money. Like a ton. And when you live in that space of limiting beliefs, there's just fear is everywhere. Because you, of course, you don't know where you're going, right? Have you ever been a lost little child? You don't know where you're going? Of course, that's scary. You have no direction. It's horrible. So if you want to eradicate fear and start walking by faith, you have got to work on releasing time and money. And inside the Elevated Mother Experience, We do that within the first 3 weeks that you're in there. We go through that process. So, number 4, we're almost done. Stop telling fictional stories about other people. Leave their brain and their bank account alone. I know that sounds so immature, but like, it was my reality, and I know I'm not the only one. So many wasted thoughts on other people. And I talked about that in my beginning experiences. So much wasted energy here. Stop worrying about if your client has enough money to hire you. Let them worry about that. Hold space for them to make the transformation that they really want to change their lives and go with the service that you have to offer. Okay? Like, stop worrying about if your son or your daughter or your grandma or whatever is thinking this certain thing that you have no idea. Why don't you just go ask them? Are you thinking this? I've been wondering about that. Just start. Okay, stop placing your choices and actions because of something you really do not know if it's true. And if you've been writing out and you're like, oh, I'm really afraid, because ask yourself, is this really true? Can I know with 100% clarity that this thing that I'm afraid is true? And if you don't know, then you need to either find out or let it go. Drop that thought attachment, because that thought attachment is not serving you and you don't even know if it's true. Okay? When I came to the truth that I have no idea what other people are thinking, I only know what I'm thinking, and let's just focus on what I am doing right now, living in the present, my reasons for the moment that I'm in. So much of my fear just dropped off. Like, I've come to this moment. I feel like I should post this thing. I feel like I should publish that thing. I feel like I should start that thing and just say it. And I would do it, and I felt amazing, in my power, in my element, stepping into who I am. And guess what? A million criticism letters didn't show up on my front lawn. It's amazing. And I didn't have to go through all this energy expenditure worrying about what people thought. So I have way much more fun in my life, intimately, outwardly, just being me. When I went to Florida and just frolicked on the beach in my swimsuit for the first time in my whole life, I wasn't worried about what I looked like. I had no thoughts. I left that vacation and I'm like, it was so freeing and fun and awesome. And I'm like, I know my mindset was such a big piece of that. It was awesome. Number 5. Guys, let it be awesome. One of my mantras now is let it be better. I was limiting myself by forcing my life to fit into whatever checklist I had created. I was not letting God come in and make it different, because I was so hell-bent on doing these things that I was just so sure that he could not come in and work miracles in my life. I was pushing that so far away. Open your mind and expand your thinking. Like, expand your ideas on what you think is right, what you think is correct, what's morally wrong, what's okay, what's truly unforgivable or unacceptable or inappropriate. Like, everything someone else does is only a reflection of their belief systems that they're working from. It's the same with you. Everything you do is a reflection. Everything you're surrounded with, your current situation, is a reflection of your belief system currently. So let your actions match the real you. Find out who you are. Let God guide you. Do things better. Let it be better. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Walk by faith. Let your life be better than you could ever have imagined. Let it be better. So many things happened on our vacation that were totally unplanned. Nothing I could have foreseen or known was going to happen. And it was awesome. We got kicked out of one resort only to be booked up in one resort that was amazing. It was so cool. There was nowhere there was alligators because of the hurricane. And all of a sudden we go to this shop and there's an alligator sitting on the sidewalk that someone was like, here, pet him. He's my pet. And I'm like, what? Like, it was so cool. So many little drops in our bucket that were just so cool, because I just let it be better. Let's just let it be. Whatever's going to happen. Like, let's just, you have a basic plan, but let it be better. Life is meant to be joyful and fun. And if it's not, I'm guessing you're stuck in your own box and your own checklist. God isn't able to come in and make things different. It's way more fun, you guys, and abundant in your life when you're just you, only you. Let God orchestrate the joy and the abundance in your life as you choose to let him do so. He's your greatest advocate, your endless support, your endless resource for anything that you need, your endless support for your health, your creativity, like all of it. And if you struggle with some of these concepts and you're ready to consider maybe doing things different in your life, I would love to have a chat with you. I would love to talk with you and either share a resource, or we can talk about the Elevated Mother experience, what that would look like for you. If you would like to talk about that and consider it, drop the word faith in the comments and we'll reach out and we'll talk to you and see what this could look like for you. There is a different way to live life, and living in fear is not, in my experience, the best way to have a joyful, fulfilling, wonderful life. It's living by faith, allowing God to bring the resources to you instead of forcing things and saying you already know. There's a different way, and it's pretty dang awesome. All right, you guys, thanks so much for coming to class. Again, if you're watching the replay, please drop stuff in the comments. We want to hear what you have to say. If you have specific questions, message me, or put it in the comments and I'll answer it in the group. All right, have an awesome Friday. Have a good weekend. Happy Halloween. We'll talk to you soon.